Our next guest is the winner of the first Ultimate Fighter. He's one of the UFC's most iconic names and has been known for displaying his heart in every fight. He will be coming to Australia with Everything MMA August 15th to 17th, and he will be visiting Melbourne and Perth. For more information, you can check out everythingmma.com.au. Ladies and gentlemen, on the show, we have none other than Diego Sanchez. Diego, welcome to Submission Radio.
Oh, it's a good day here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'm excited to go see Australia. The last time I've been out there was in 2007, and been a while, but I'm excited to come back.
Well, I guess the biggest question to ask you to kick off the interview, Diego, is how's the packing going? You know, August is coming up soon. What does Diego Sanchez pack in his suitcase when he goes over to Australia?
Well, I'm just packing all the usual stuff, some sandals, some shoes, and, you know, I've been thinking about what gear I'm going to pack in case I need to get on the mat with some of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu people out there, and that's about it. Just the normal stuff.
Smart choice, because here in Australia we wear flip-flops and you know, all the sandals pretty much all year round. Doesn't matter whether it's, you know, winter, snowing, or whatever. Now, obviously, everyone here is very excited for your seminars with Everything MMA. Tell us, what can fans expect from a seminar with Diego Sanchez?
They can expect just some high level Jacksons, mixed martial arts techniques. They can expect some good jiu-jitsu. They can expect some mental game too. You know, a lot of seminars you go to, you won't get the mental game, and I think that's one thing that I have a lot of experience in is the mental aspects of competition and the mental aspects of mixed martial arts, and it's something that I've been always wanting to spread to the young mixed martial artists, and hopefully I get some young kids at the seminars. I love working with the children and the youth, so we'll see who comes out.
Absolutely, Diego. Now, you've mentioned Jackson. It's been a little while since your last fight. How's training going? What have you been up to? We saw that video of you watching one of your teammates at one of the fights, supporting him. It was a great video. What have you been up to apart from that since your last fight?
You know what? My last two fights were that, like, I had 3 back-to-back training camps. So after this last fight, I've taken about a month off and just done some family stuff. I've been doing some house hunting, and I'm looking for a new house for me and my family, and you know, just more than anything, just a family life. And this last week, I got back into Jackson's and got some good sparring in, and fortunately, I wasn't so out of shape, and I'm ready to kick things off and start preparing for my next fight.
Fantastic. And, you know, let's talk a little bit about, you know, Jacksons and Winkeljohns in Albuquerque. You know, there's so many fighters there. You know, it's really an all-star cast of fighters from all divisions. And with so many guys there, do you train with everybody equally, or are there specific guys that you train with more than the others?
Yeah, you know, now that I'm a lightweight, I train with mostly lightweights and under, so smaller, lighter, faster guys. But you know, sometimes when it comes to the jiu-jitsu and the ground game, I'll get in there. I'll get in there with the heavyweights and get some good sparring in with the heavyweights. But as far as taking blows from the big guys like John Jones and Andrei Arlovsky, I'll leave that to them guys, and I'll stay with the little guys.
That's a great point, Diego. You know, we had John Dodson on the show, and he tells us he likes to spar with Arlovsky sometimes. Maybe it's because he's so quick that Arlovsky can barely hit him. Now, you know, there was a big event over the weekend, UFC Dublin, and, you know, your name has always been called out, obviously, because you're one of the biggest stars in the UFC. Norman Parke just recently called you out after his fight, wanting to fight you next. Do you know who Norman Parke is, and would you be interested in possibly fighting him?
Yeah, Norman. Yeah, you know, I don't understand why Norman called me out. I guess he wants to fight a bigger name and make a name for himself, and that's understandable. But yeah, you know, he's on a roll, and you know, right now I'm like, I'll fight anybody. I need a fight. I need a fight so I can get motivated, so I can just have that name in the back of my mind every day, waking up thinking about this guy's training for me, And so, yeah, if things come together with Norman Parke, I would love to fight the guy. I need to fight, and I'm not too picky. Who I have to fight. Of course, the fight that I want, it's not going to happen, but it's not going to happen my next fight anyway. But like I said, I'll fight anybody at the lightweight division, and so, I'm ready for anybody. And it's like the most stacked division in the UFC, in my opinion. And the top 25, top 30 are all great fights. So I'm sure someone will step up, and I'm hoping to get on the inaugural show, Mexico City, the first UFC in Mexico. I just would like to be a part of that. Me being Latin ethnicity, I would love to be a part of that. I think it's going to be a very special show, and I love fighting on any Cain Velasquez undercard. He's quite the champion, and it's always fun to be on one of his undercards.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that literally was my next question about the Mexico card. Obviously it would be fantastic. Your last fight was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Crowd was crazy. We can only imagine how crazy they'd be in Mexico. But you mentioned the next fight that you're going to get isn't the one you're going to want. Which is the fight that you do want? Are you talking about Nate Diaz?
Yeah, I'm talking about Nate Diaz. I've called him out, he's waiting for a bigger payday, but I'm a fighter. We're fighters, and he's trying to make money, and I understand that. But it's like, you gotta be grateful for what you got, pay your dues, And like Dana White said, the guy, he fought for the title, he lost, and his next fight he got knocked out, and then now he's crying and complaining after he has one big win. And I'm like, hey man, there's a guy standing right here. If you're so much better than me, come kick my ass, and easy payday for you. And that's not the incident though. He doesn't want to step up to the plate and give the fans the fight that the fans deserve. And I just I know that all the fans would love to see a Diaz Sanchez too. And so it's just a great fight for the fans, and all in all, I fight for the fans, and I love to fight for the fans. I love being that part of my legacy where, the fans, I'm a fan favorite, and it's because I put on great shows. And, I know I need to get back to what got me there and start guys on the ground and beating up, but, it's a fun sport, and I think that me and Nate Diaz would be a great fight, a great style matchup.
And I wanted to ask you, just in terms of fans, I think you've always been a fan favorite since The Ultimate Fighter, but in terms of style, it's changed a lot. It's changed a huge amount since The Ultimate Fighter 1. Your old style consisted of wrestling and crushing ground and pound, while recently you've been very much like an everlasting brawler. I was going to ask you, which style do you prefer, and why the change?
It's just the change is just a part of my mixed martial arts evolution. I continue to try to get better and better in the stand up. So if I have to stand up, I can handle myself there and win the fight there if I have to win the fight there. But my strength is on the ground, and anybody that's rolled with me knows that on the ground I'm hard to beat, and especially at 155, I feel that I'm one of the top grapplers in the division, and all my coaches and all the people around me, all my close people around me are like, Diego, come on, man, you need to get back to your old ways of taking people down, and I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's just when you're out there and you feel the pressure of the crowd, and it's like you want to get that big knockout, especially for my last fight. I was fighting in front of my hometown, and I wanted to give them that knockout. And so, I was going for it and it didn't come, and you know, in the end, I probably should have went to my wrestling and to my grappling and took the fight there. But you know, now I'm getting a little older, and I need to, you know, fight smarter, and so that's one thing I've been working on. And but you know, hey, you know, like I said, I'm a scrapper, and when it comes down to it, and we're in the cage, you know, sometimes I'm just gonna, you know, flip the switch and get down.
Absolutely, Diego. You know, it's funny that you mention that, because one of the biggest things that we've gotten, because we get a lot of messages here on the show, is a lot of your huge fans would love to see, you know, do some grappling again. So I think it just shows that whatever you do in the ring, people are always excited to see it. But you mentioned your last fight with Ross Pearson at UFC Fight Night 42. Obviously, you won the fight, but there was a little bit of criticism about the judge's decision. You mentioned that you wanted to get the big knockout, you didn't get it, and that was one of the things that sort of caused the fight to play out the way it did. But I just wanted to ask you, how did you feel about the whole situation with the fight? Obviously, you won the fight, the judges made a decision, and guys like Dana White, the UFC, criticized the decision. That couldn't have been an easy position to be in, right?
Oh no, it never is. No, it's not the first time in my career I've been in that hot seat, and it's just a part of the sport. And as you get older and you get more wise and you get more experience, you're gonna go through almost every situation there is. And you know, that's basically the case I'm in. I've been in almost every type of fight, win, lose, draw, you know, and in that particular fight, yeah, you know, the judges gave me the nod. All I can say is I went in there and I fought with all my heart, and I left it all in the cage, and it was a close fight, and the judges obviously felt that I won the fight. And you know, I know that there was a lot of people out there who disagreed, but there was also a lot of people that supported that decision, and you know, the fans on my Twitter, I got a tremendous amount of support of positive feedback of fans, plenty of fans believing that I won round 1 and I won round 3. You know, yeah, I'll give round 2 to Ross, and you know, Ross fought very tough, and he fought a good fight, and like I said immediately after the fight, I'm willing to give Ross a rematch at any time. You know, if the UFC is willing to put it together, I would love to fight him again and give him another opportunity if that's what the UFC wanted to do. But the UFC isn't interested in doing that, so I'm just gonna move forward in my career, and you know, in the end, it all gets washed out in the end, and the next fight is gonna, you know, be the next fight, and it's part of my legacy, and you know, that's just the way I feel about that fight. I feel I won the fight. I feel I won round 1 and won round 3. I put the pressure the whole fight. I was coming after him, going for the finish. Yeah, he dropped me in round 2, but besides that, I didn't feel like he was really trying to finish me or anything. He landed some body shots, and but it was a good fight, and I was happy with the result.
And you mentioned your legion of fans, obviously on the Twitter, all over the place. And when we told everybody that you were coming to the show, everybody sent in their fan questions. So we're going to ask you some of those in just a moment. But before we go further, you know, we were talking about Norman Parke before. He's obviously Irish. He's not the only Irish guy that was calling you out just not too long ago. Obviously, you and Conor McGregor had a bit of a history last year. It seems like, you know, the beef has simmered down. But Conor McGregor, he's back in the spotlight, and you're always popular. Would there be any chance of you and Conor McGregor possibly fighting and doing a big fight?
You know what, man? I don't know. You know, I would love to fight this guy, and he said he'd like to fight me too, so I definitely think it's possible. You know, I think he's a great mixer. I think he's really talented. I think he's really tough, and I just don't agree with, you know, people going out there and thinking that, you know, this guy thinks he's like the Anderson Silva. He claims that he's the GOAT, and I'm just like, come on, man. You ain't done enough to claim that you. You know, I'm all for believing in yourself, but it's like he's taking it to the next level, and if he gets past Dustin Poirier, then he's definitely on that level. But he has that next fight, a tough fight. But if we get a fight, we get a fight. And I've even possibly thought about going down to 145 just to fight him. Like matter of fact, yesterday I was in my gym working out, and I was like, oh, could I do it? Could I make 145? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I might have to try. I might have to do it. And I was like, but would it be worth it for one fight to go down to 145? I'm like, would it really be worth it? I was like, I'm gonna have to do like a 10-day fast. I'm gonna have to really sacrifice to get down to 145. I'm gonna have to lose some muscle. And I was really giving it some serious thought. I'm like, but what if I'm stronger? What if I'm stringy? Like I'm going to be long and stringy at that weight. I was seriously giving it some consideration. And it's not out of the question. It definitely is not out of the question. I might have to do a fight at 145 and give it a try. We'll see. But as for now, I've been lifting weights. And I'm loving getting stronger. And in 2012, I had to get a shoulder surgery, and I had some knee problems. And I've made full recovery. And finally, 2 years later, I'm able to lift weights again. And I'm really trying to get strong and get that physical strength that I need to fight that style that was the Diego Sanchez that came into the UFC, that strong wrestler that used to take people down and just manhandle people and put them on the ground and pound them. And that's something I've been working on. I'm trying to get my strength back on, and I'm working with a really, really good strength and conditioning coach, and he's confident that I'll be stronger than I've ever been, and so that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome, Diego. Now we got a couple of quick fan questions, so we'll kick it right off. McGrubby wants to know, do you still eat raw quail eggs?
Hell no. Hell no, I never did, and I made a mistake, man. In Dallas, and I ate some raw meat, and I don't know. I'll probably never eat raw meat again, to be honest. Like my steaks, I'm having them medium now. I'm not even going into the medium rare. Like I was so traumatized. After that experience, and it was a rough one. But I'm back to I learned my lesson the hard way. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Now Lost wants to know, what is the story? I think some people know this, but for the ones that don't, what is the story behind your yes chant that you're famous for?
Yes chant. It all comes back to a Tony Robbins seminar.
Mm-hmm.
I learned the yes out there at the Tony Robbins seminar in LA, and it's something that Anthony Robbins incorporates into his mental strength program, and it's just something that I carried on into my career. The yes has come out every now and then when I get really excited, but I'm not as hardcore. I'm not as hardcore as I used to be with the yeses, but they do come out when they need to come out.
And just quickly, just on that question, what's the strangest place that a yes has come out, say, out of the octagon?
The strangest place that the yes has come out, I'm not sure, but I think maybe probably in the bedroom with my wife, maybe.
Oh man!
Awesome. Now, Diego, we've got one last fan question before we jump to the top out round. Director 101 would like to know, could you please tell us one of the craziest things that you have seen or been a part of behind the UFC scenes that the public has never seen or has never known about?
One of the craziest things was when I was going to fight Nick Diaz, how prior to the fight, he somehow found my email, and I don't know how he got my email, but he got my email, and it really was Nick Diaz. And, like, he was saying, like, about 2 months before the fight, like, he was emailing me just, like, the worst emails, like, totally talking shit, saying, like, really, really bad stuff about my mom, my dad, my family, really trying to get under my skin, and he did. And it really was more than just a fight. There was some hate in that fight, and up to the point to where before the fight, like, we were so adamant about killing each other, and that, like, he took his shoe off in the pre-warm-up and threw his shoe at me, and Greg Jackson had to hold me back. And there was a lot more drama in that than people know, and so that's probably the craziest thing was me and Nick Diaz and the emails and taking off his shoe, and just the relationship that we had going into that.
Wow.
Bad one.
That is crazy. Now, Diego, we're going to let you go really soon because I know you're going to have dinner real quick. But before we do, we're going to do a quick tap-out round with you. It's just basically fun round. We throw a bunch of questions at you, and you answer them more or less as quickly as possible, kind of like word association. Are you ready?
All right. Gotcha.
All right. So what are some places, and has Conor suggested some places that you see while you're down here in Australia?
Definitely the ocean. Try to see the ocean again.
When you come down to Australia, you're going to be doing MMA seminars and dinners with everything MMA. But what's the best advice that an MMA coach has ever given you in your career?
Don't do drugs.
Definitely good advice. How many times have you watched the episode of The Simpsons where Bart calls Australia to prepare yourself for the craziness of Melbourne and Perth?
Never.
Well, I think it's something that you need to do, Diego, if you get a time. Now, is there a way for a fighter to learn to have more heart?
Yes. Get your ass kicked, and you'll never want to get your ass kicked again, and that's probably the easiest way of learning how to get some more heart.
Now, the yes chant, will this be a part of the seminar for all the Aussie fans?
Definitely, the yes chant will be a part of the seminar, and I know the Aussies are ready for the yes.
Mm-hmm.
What's a secret talent that Diego Sanchez has that we don't know about?
I would have to say, I don't know. That's a tough one. I have to think about my secret talent because I think I'm keeping it a secret from myself.
I guess your talent is fighting, so it's not so much a secret. All right, now everyone knows how much heart you have. We've got 3 questions for you. Who had more heart? And you got to choose from one of the 3. There's Rocky Balboa in the first movie. There's the evil Terminator in Terminator 2, the car scene where he runs after the cars and turns his hands into hooks and doesn't give up. Or Mike, the situation from the Jersey Shore when he tries to pick up girls and he won't throw in the towel until he finds one willing to bite the bullet and talk to him.
I'd have to go with the evil Terminator and Terminator 2.
Fantastic. And final question, Diego. This August, when you come down to Australia, I know you've said it, that you've said some of the great stuff that you're going to be doing, but what's one thing that fans could look forward to when they come meet you down under?
Just some good old positive energy, happiness, joy, and I'm going to be bringing some good techniques, and I'm just bringing great gratitude because I'm just very happy to be able to go out and visit you guys again, and it's no worries on my part. No worries on my part.
Well, guys, we're absolutely going to be looking forward to it, Diego. And obviously, for anyone listening, you can meet Diego Sanchez in person in Melbourne and in Perth, August 15th and 17th. The seminar and dinner packages available through everythingmma.com.au. And of course, don't forget to follow Diego on Twitter at Diego Sanchez UFC. Diego, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for being on Submission Radio.
Oh, thank you so much, and I can't wait to see everybody. And it's going to be a very, very awesome trip to Australia.